Mr. Jackson, you now stand charged with another case. You were charged with possession of marijuana. You are facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On January 18th, 2025, the officer observed the defendant's vehicle traveling 78 miles per hour in a 60-mile-per-hour zone, have an expired registration, and failed to maintain financial responsibility on Interstate 45. The officer noticed a prominent odor of marijuana trailing the defendant's vehicle, and a traffic stop was initiated. The officer observed the defendant to be in the driver's seat with a black bag and a female to be in the front passenger seat. The defendant rolled down the passenger window, and the officer observed a cloud of smoke emitting from the vehicle with an odor of marijuana. The defendant was asked to step out of the vehicle with the black bag. The black bag was opened, and the officer observed a clear jar with a green leafy substance known to be marijuana based on training experience, along with a digital scale and individual baggies. The defendant was searched for weapons, and the officer found more packages of marijuana inside his private area. The weight of the marijuana was 1.82 ounces.
And Your Honor, if I could adjust probable cause.
Okay.
Your Honor, so while I don't dispute the reason for the stop here, I think there's a couple things that stand out. So there is a alleged smell of marijuana that comes from the vehicle, and then an alleged cloud of smoke that comes from the vehicle as the windows are open. So first off, the officer doesn't specify whether this is a cloud of course, burnt marijuana, which I would assume, or vaped marijuana, because those are two very different things with two very different distinct smells. Additionally, if the officer is pulling him out and looking for marijuana and he has this cloud, then he would be looking for burnt marijuana, right? So he would be looking for a roach. He would be looking for a blunt. What he does is he looks inside of a plastic bag. If we have embered marijuana or we have a lit blunt, it's certainly not going to be in a plastic bag without the smell of burning plastic. Additionally, the marijuana that is found in the bag is in a sealed glass jar container, something that would not emanate a smell because a glass jar is essentially smell proof. In this instance, I think we have an officer who went too far with the search because we have Mr. Jackson here who did not admit to possessing marijuana, did not admit to this being marijuana. The statute, of course, requires that this has to be marijuana, and we know we have the issues, of course, with the hemp bill. But Your Honor, if you're not aware, you can go into any head shop, purchase flowered hemp, open it, and it smells, looks, everything about it is identical.
I understand,
to
and that,
marijuana.
yes, I agree with you for a beyond a reasonable doubt standard, but here, this is just mere probable cause, right? There's a good stop, goes to the car, smells marijuana, there's a plume of smoke that comes out. Not only that, Sean, he signed an affidavit that he wasn't going to drive. He's not supposed to be driving regardless.
And I get the driving aspect of it, but I don't see how a cloud of marijuana from burnt marijuana gets you inside of a plastic bag. At that point, it becomes a fishing expedition as opposed to looking for the actual contraband, which he suspects that would be in the vehicle.
I don't know. I mean, I think that there's certainly enough to go forward. Beyond a reasonable doubt, I don't know. But this is just a probable cause standard, which is the low stand, So
I understand.
I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case, Mr. Jackson. I ordered you not to drive. He's a driver in this car?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. I'm now revoking your bond. It goes with you. Sorry, Sean, but he promised us he's not going to drive. He signed an affidavit. He knows. He knew.
And Your Honor, will a new bond be set? And if so, can we get that amount set?
So I'll leave the first bond as is. The first case, I'm going to do it at 5,001.
Okay. So first case, 5,001, and then the new case, of course,
I'll
would be
leave
bonded
the
out
first
as.
one or the second one as is, though. So he's on bond for 2 cases. He's now picked up a 3rd case. Is this right?
That's correct, yes.
Mr. Jenkins, you now stand charged with the offense of reckless driving. You are facing up to 30 days in jail and or a $500 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
Yes, Judge. On January 12, 2025 at 6:26 p.m., the officer observed the defendant's vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed on a feeder road without headlights on. The officer checked the speedometer and it read 80 miles per hour while the defendant's vehicle was traveling faster. This occurred in a 50-mile-per-hour zone. The officer observed the defendant's vehicle make an unsafe lane change, cutting off a motor vehicle and reaching a speed of 106 miles per hour with moderate to heavy traffic. The officer observed another unsafe lane change while attempting to catch up to the defendant's vehicle. A traffic stop was initiated and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle.
Mr. Jenkins, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Does he have a valid Texas
Yeah,
driver?
he's eligible.
I'm now revoking your bond on the other two cases. You will go into custody with me because you picked up a third case, sir. Goes with you.
Judge, he also is wanting me off the case. So I didn't know if we wanted to
I
address that.
wanted to have a.
I'm not going to talk to you about this case. You have a lawyer. You need to talk to the
Talk
lawyer.
about my two cases before that, sir.
I'm not going to talk to you about this. We'll put you in back if you want. I can give you a new lawyer today.
Okay, anybody?
I'll give you a lawyer, another. If you want to get off, and I'll provide you another lawyer. It's the third case. Unacceptable.
Here today because you wanted to bond conditions.
Good morning, Mr. Barnes.
Good morning. Sir Davis, sir.
You made it out.
Yes, I did.
Just, we're not asking for much, man. Just be careful, behave, don't do anything you shouldn't do, you know? Is those cases are still open in Fort Bend or what?
The case is still open in Fort Bend. It's still pending. Your next court date is down there.
It's on March. Not all the cases are open.
One of them's still open. Paul Two's representing him. I talked to Paul yesterday. And it's set for sometime in March. I can't recall the exact
It's
date.
okay. Have we done PC on this yet or no?
We haven't done anything. He was in custody.
Right, okay, so we're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I just want to see if there's enough to go forward on your case. I don't know what happened. Okay, Alex,
Yes,
please.
Judge. On September 4th, 2024, the officer observed a hand-to-hand transaction between the driver of a parked vehicle and another individual. The defendant was a passenger in the vehicle, and the officer approached and smelled a strong odor of marijuana. The officer asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and saw in plain view a scale in the driver's side door, and the officer detained the defendant and the driver. The officer found a bag of marijuana in the defendant's waistband pursuant to a pat-down, and the weight of the marijuana was 1.27 ounces.
Tell me he saw him do a hand-to-hand transaction or someone else?
The driver of the vehicle was a hand-to-hand transaction, and when he approached the vehicle, he asked the defendant and the driver who did the hand-to-hand transaction to exit. And furthermore, the officer smelled an odor of marijuana.
I know, but why would he search him?
What?
I get it on the driver because he sees the hand-to-hand contact with them, but he's just sitting there.
Your Honor, the only thing would be officer safety, just to pat down. That
Now, all right, Mr. Barnes, I'm going to find no probable cause. Just be careful. All right, really. You hang with dogs, what happens?
You did.
No. You get fleet. Well, you can get bit too, right? Please,
Because a bad dog.
just don't hang out with the wrong people. All right.